Can you use jealousy to make your ex give you a second chance? Or will trying to incite jealousy just make matters even worse? Well, keep watching because that's exactly what I'll be talking about here in this video. Now, if this is the first time you've watched any of my videos, then welcome. I'm Brad Browning, aka Breakup Brad, and I'm a breakup coach and best-selling author from Vancouver, Canada. Now, please subscribe to my channel for tons of more free breakup advice videos like this one. And of course, don't hesitate to leave your questions and feedback in the comments below once the video is over. Now, let's get right into the question at hand. Does jealousy make an ex want to get back together? Well, the answer to that question is yes, but it comes with a serious disclaimer. Let me explain. Yes, if you can make your ex jealous in the first couple of months after breaking up, this will almost always improve your chances of getting them back. Now, I'll explain more about how to incite a bit of jealousy in your ex later on in this video, but first I want to give you a very important warning. While jealousy does work extremely well when you use it properly, it also has a very high danger of backfiring on you if you're not very careful and strategic about it. So if you don't handle things properly and your ex finds out that you're actively trying to make them jealous, it's going to actually do the opposite. It's going to push them further away, and it's going to actually do some serious damage to your odds of getting them back. And that's why I call this strategy covert jealousy in my X Factor program. Yes, it is about, making your ex a little bit jealous, but the key is to do it carefully and only when you've properly set the stage and come up with a good plan. If you just, whip out your phone and announce to your ex in a text message that you're dating somebody new, that's not going to be an effective strategy. It's usually actually just going to make your ex angry and make you look like a petty, sleazy person in general. Now, after this video is over, please go to breakupbrad.com and watch my full tutorial video for free to learn a little bit more about covert jealousy and how to use this technique properly and at the right time. Or you can consider signing up for my one-on-one coaching at breakupbrad.com/coaching to get my personal help before you start trying to make your ex jealous. Now, at this point, some of you are probably thinking, well, Brad, I already know how to make my ex jealous. I'll just show up at a party next weekend that I know my ex will be at, and I'll bring along a date. But that's not really the best way to use my covert jealousy technique. And in fact, it's not the only type of jealousy that you can use to help get back together. So without further ado, let me give you some tips on how to safely and effectively use jealousy to help change your ex's mind about breaking up. Now, tip number one is to always be extremely subtle with your attempts to incite jealousy. This is why I call it covert jealousy. Because the only way this strategy is going to actually work is if your ex doesn't realize that you're doing it intentionally. It simply won't ever be effective if your ex knows that you're actively trying to make them jealous. So you have to be very cautious and ensure that you're subtle enough to avoid setting off your ex's alarm bells and letting them see your underlying motives. Tip number two, start by employing a period of no contact. Now, I'm not going to bore you to death by explaining the benefits of no contact again here in this video. If you do want to know why no contact is such an effective strategy for getting an ex back, just watch some of my other videos on that topic that I've already released in the past. For the purpose of this video, just know that it's important to employ a period of no contact before you start thinking about trying to make your ex jealous. Now, yes, there are some things that you can do during no contact to start inciting some jealousy, but generally speaking, you can't expect jealousy to be particularly effective unless it's preceded by a period of no contact. So please, if you haven't yet started to shut down the lines of communication with your ex, do that first before you start applying any of the other tips that I'm going to share in this video. And also, remember that no contact in itself is actually going to help make your ex jealous. They won't realize it consciously, but the simple fact that you're not around anymore is going to make your ex jealous of whomever you are spending your time with. They had become accustomed to you being a big part of their life, and by applying no contact, you're essentially shocking your ex into learning what life is like without you. So your ex is almost certain to feel jealous of anyone who you choose to spend your time with during no contact, even if they don't actually realize it themselves. And tip number three, get out there and start living an exciting and productive life. Now, this is something that a lot of people tend to overlook when it comes to making your ex jealous, but it really is an important part of inciting jealousy. Your ex isn't expecting you to really thrive in the weeks and months immediately after breaking up. In fact, they're expecting you to just lie around the house, feeling sorry for yourself. So that's why you need to do the exact opposite, and you need to get out there and live life to the fullest. Now, what does that mean in practical terms? It just means, going out and being as social as possible, making new friends, reconnecting with old friends, joining a club, taking up a new hobby. It also means going to the gym and getting fit, kicking ass at work or in school, achieving your goals, and really just thriving in life. Now, all of these things are going to make your ex feel a sense of FOMO, or a fear of missing out. And it's going to make them jealous that you're moving on so quickly and living such an interesting, exciting, and productive life without them. Now, I know this sounds a bit abstract, but I promise that simply being social and occupying your time with new and fun things is, by itself, going to incite a bit of jealousy in the back of your ex's mind. Now, tip number 4, go on dates or hang out with members of the opposite sex. Now, this is the most obvious way that you can make your ex jealous, and it's probably the one that you already know about. And like I said earlier, it's only a part of my covert jealousy strategy. But it is a very effective way to incite jealousy, at least if you do it properly. Now, I realize that you probably don't really feel like going out on a date with somebody new right now, because you're focused on getting back together with your ex. But you really do need to put yourself out there and start dating again as soon as humanly possible, regardless of whether you actually think it's going to lead anywhere in the long term. At the very least, even if it doesn't create the kind of jealousy you're hoping for, even if it doesn't end up working to get your ex to come back, it will help you get over your ex in the long run and keep your mind off things in the short term. So, create a Tinder profile. Put yourself out there on dating sites. Pick up a new hobby where you're likely to meet new people of the opposite sex. It doesn't really matter how you go about it. Just go on a couple of dates and have a good time. Again, it's not important whether you really feel a connection with whomever you're seeing. It's just going out with somebody of the opposite sex that really matters. And you don't need to have any intention of taking this person on a second date. In fact, you can even just hang out with friends of the opposite sex, and that can have the same effect on your ex. The more you date around, the more your ex will think, hey, I used to date this really high quality person. Why on earth did I dump him or her? So really, just go out on as many dates as you can. I'm not saying that you should sleep with anybody who's willing to. In fact, you don't need to sleep with anyone at all in order to effectively make your ex jealous. But you do want to make it known that you're highly sought after and that members of the opposite sex want you. In the dating world, this is typically what's called pre-selection. And being wanted by members of the opposite sex is actually a desirable trait that will make your ex doubt their decision to let you walk away. So the more you can mingle, flirt, and go on dates, the better. All right, and tip number 5 is to communicate your fun and exciting social life to your ex. So going on dates, making new friends, and being socially active is all helpful on its own. But in order to truly maximize its impact on your ex, you want to let them know, subtly, that you're doing all of this stuff and that you're really thriving since the breakup. Now, there are 3 ways that you can communicate this to your ex in a way that won't make them suspect that you're doing it specifically to make them jealous. First, you can use social media to your advantage. So just post pictures of you doing really fun things that your ex wouldn't expect you to be doing. You could post pictures like, you going snowboarding, bungee jumping, or playing the guitar. Remember to take some pictures of, whatever fun social stuff you're doing. Just show your ex that you're popular and that you have a bustling social life. And just like I mentioned earlier, take pictures of yourself with really attractive members of the opposite sex to show that you're high value, that you're wanted. And do everything that you can to convey to the world that you love life and that you're happy. It's likely that your ex is going to be actively creeping your social media, but even if your ex has you blocked on Instagram and Facebook, the news will likely get back to them eventually when other people see your posts. Now, secondly, you can use mutual friends to pass along the news to your ex. Now, be careful not to be too obvious here, but basically all you need to do is meet up with a mutual friend who's likely to talk to your ex in the near future. And when you're talking to that mutual friend, just, mention your recent adventures, some of your successes, or some of the new friends that you've made since the breakup. Share a story that showcases how interesting and busy your life has been since breaking up. Now, odds are, of course, that this mutual friend will pass this news along to your ex next time they talk, and it won't seem like, you're trying to make them jealous. And finally, and this is actually maybe the easiest and most effective way to communicate things to your ex, just drop some subtle hints and create a bit of mystery next time you talk to them. So by casually dropping, a seemingly innate reference to a new friend that you're hanging out with, without giving too much detail or further explanation, you can really make your ex wonder what you've been up to and what they're missing out on. Now, one of my favorite examples of this is something you can do over text message. So for example, let's say that you left your favorite shirt at your ex's house and you need to pick it up from them. Now, when you arrange to pick it up from their house in a text message, you might say something like, hey, I'm taking a friend to the new Bond movie tonight at the theater by your house. Could I drop by after to pick up my purple shirt on the way? Now, you can also achieve the same effect if you're meeting with your ex and chatting with them in person. One way to do that would be to tell just an interesting or funny story about something you've done since breaking up and drop a reference to a new friend during the story. So for example, you could say, I went to a kickboxing class with my friend Sarah last week, and wow, it's such a good workout. Now I know what you mean about your karate classes being so tiring. And you don't want to, go into any more detail about who Sarah is or what your relationship with her is. Just drop that reference in a natural way, during the course of your conversation and leave it at that. And when you do this effectively, you'll leave your ex wondering, to themselves who this new person is, whether you're dating them or you're just friends. And regardless of what the truth is, they're going to assume the worst and their mind's going to be going crazy with curiosity. And tip number 6 is remember to be subtle and never reveal your true intentions to your ex. Now, Now, this is something that I already mentioned earlier, but I'm including it again as the final tip here because it's absolutely critical. Nothing that I've talked about in this video is going to help you get your ex back if they recognize that you're doing it in order to try and make them jealous. So that's why you always need to be extremely careful to keep things subtle, appear natural, and just never be too overt or obvious about whatever tactic you're using to incite jealousy. So I guess I can really sum up what we've talked about in this video in one sentence. Yes, jealous can be a very effective tool to help change your ex's mind about breaking up and make them want to get back together with you, but only if you do it correctly without them realizing that you're doing it. So at this point, I hope you'll now go to breakupbrad.com and watch my full tutorial video for free to learn more about my 3R system and all of my other techniques to help you get your ex back, including a lot more on how to properly use covert jealousy. So please take a few minutes and head over to breakupbrad.com right now and give it a watch. And that is a wrap on this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and drop your questions in the comments below. I always enjoy reading and responding to as many of your comments as I can. Good luck out there, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.